Alright, today's the day whenever I recover my factory seat on my 300L. Yes, I bought an extra one, which is on the bike now. The reason why I'm going to partake in this project is because this already had a little tear in the seat. So I figured, why not? I'll buy an extra seat and have it, and I'll try to make this one more comfortable. You'll have to take out these two screws in the bottom. And of course, like any other seat, you have to take the staples out. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the fact that this is sewn, which means this may be a difficult spot for me to pull the fabric over tight and to have a good fit. But we will have to see. I'm not afraid to go and borrow a sewing machine and model it after this cover. So we'll have to see. And I've got 3 different kinds of fabric here. I believe I may end up going with this red because black is really pretty, and this is almost a carbon fiber look with the black, but the red will be, more applicable to, to the bike looking original. And I want to show you the differences in the fabric between this fabric is not stretchable. This fabric is. It's got a little bit of give to it. You can actually stretch it around corners a little easier, especially when you've added heat. So this stuff will be a little bit more difficult, but it has foam. It's got foam backing, and I like that because it will give it a little bit more cushion. I'm probably going to shave this seat down a decent amount up to about here, and I'm going to stop because I don't want to mess with the front shape of this. I guess you would call it like a horn. And I'm probably going to put a thin layer of maybe this little bit denser green foam, and with the foam back seat it should be a whole lot more comfortable than what the original is. And I'll also drop probably a good solid inch. If you're going to drop a seat, you really need to drop it in this area right here, probably about the first 4 to 6 inches, because that's where you're going to stand. And that's where you need that little bit of a drop if you're a little bit shorter. So you can go down at an angle and then come up, and it should still look all right. And with the seat, if you still want to retain the strap, you're going to have to figure out a way to keep this to where it'll stay somewhat snug. And if you do put a lighter foam, your body weight should depress this a whole lot more. As you can see, that's a whole lot softer. That's a really light density, and they're both about. This is a little bit stiffer than the white stuff, but I'll have to see how I want to do that whenever it comes down to it. I've got plenty of foam. I got more than what's on the picture, so we will start, and I will try and do a time lapse, pulling the staples out and the screws on the seat, and shaving down the seat in the process. Okay, here's what I need. I need to make sure this strap, when it comes around, is still tight, but I still want to take a little bit of the height out of the seat. And I can take a good bit out and put this foam, which is more spongy, and still retain the height. Or I can go straight down from here and take out a good bit and then come up and still have, you know, and have it go down at an angle and then go back up. I have several options that I can do, and just like with kind of like the old carpenter's trick, where you take and you, like say if you want to go down an inch, you take and you hold your finger down and you take a pencil and you just ride up the piece of wood. You can do the same thing with the foam, but when I get to a certain point, I'll need to start coming back up so I can make this still uniform. Okay, so I went down. I actually went behind the strap a little bit, so whenever I put the softer foam on it, I'll have a little bit of room behind the strap, so it'll be a little bit better transition. And I just wrote it back up, and right here it's almost kind of a creative process, because when I take the meat knife, and it's a meat knife, and I cut this, it needs to come up and end right up about here, because I have a local tailor shop. I took the seat cover with my material to them to have them make a pattern, because I do not have the tools here for that. And I'm gonna try and come straight across. Let's see, I came back right at an inch behind. Right here, there's a notch. I came back about an inch. And all I did was do this backwards. You just hold it at an inch, right at about where you want it, and you just take and run your fingers. And remember, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect line like say a piece of wood. This is foam after all. It's gonna give, and up to about that point is where it's kind of more of a creative process, where you're gonna do a little bit of guesstimation on where the curve goes and go up. So I'm gonna try to go up, and then I'm gonna try to transition with my meat knife so I can get all this out, shave the seat down, and take and put some of this softer stuff in here, which will, you know, be a whole lot more comfortable, and it'll still lower me down. I'm guessing a ½ inch after this compresses under weight. We'll just have to see, and whether or not I use which of this foam I decide to use. And remember, this is an extra seat. If I mess it up, there's, you know, no harm, no foul. I've got plenty of foam. I could completely make this seat over again if I wanted to. I could even, you know, turn this into a big block of foam and put it on the bike and fit and refit, and, you know, and make it wider if I wanted to, but I wanted to still retain kind of the dirt bike look. So I'm going to try to use this factory stuff, and this is a more dense foam. You kind of want to, if you hit a bump so hard that you get past the, you know, what this will protect you, you'll still have this really dense stuff that you'll get into if you hit a really big bump. So that's why I do like to keep some of the original foam in it, and not just completely start from scratch. And also the reason why I need to make sure this part is still relatively the same height as this. Is pretty much where you sit. I've noticed whenever I sit between here and here, and you kind of sit on top of the strap. So a lot of your weight is actually comes up within this area of the seat. However, right in here is whenever you stand up, you kind of need that extra dip in the seat so your feet will touch a little better. And if you will forgive the noise, and I hope I have all this in view, I will try and line, and this is just long enough to where hopefully I can get where I want to go. I want to go kind of I really want to kind of go down at an angle so I'll have more foam to glue to. Instead of it being just a flat piece, it'll be more of a angle. The more surface area you can glue, the better. Alright, I'm to the line. I'm going to switch over to the other side. And remember, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, because this foam will give you a little bit of wiggle room to play with. It's hard to see. Alright, got that. And we'll take a little divot out here. Alright. Let's see how I want to do this. The hardest part is going to be this, but the blade's long enough to where I should be able to follow both sides. And this stuff is really hard to cut through, even with this meat knife. I'm going to take a little bit at a time, not so much, because I am going to put foam back. Alright, and I've still got more than I can take, and this plastic is fairly, I would not suggest going any deeper than this, because I'm not sure how far this goes up into here. And you can get the rough shape, rough idea of what I'm doing, and I'm going to put some of this green stuff. It'll have better contrast after I do this, but I'm going to put some of this green stuff in here and taper it down, so I'll have this little bit of an extra room so the seat isn't so high, and I'll be back with you guys. And this stuff right here, this spray adhesive, it works a whole lot better than I've tried 3M, but you spray this on and just give it a few seconds, and this stuff, it sticks like nobody's business for foam. This stuff works really, really well. Alright, this is about as far as I'm going to take the foam. Now remember, whenever you get your cover, it will cover up any sins you may have done while you were cutting the foam, and these do not last very long. This is my second seat, and this is just about dead, but this may appear to be about the same height as the old one, but it compresses so much more that whenever I put the new cover on it, I will actually be lower. Here she is, custom cover, shaved down to about 1 inch, a little bit of lighter foam in the seat. I've already taken it for a couple of rides, and it is a whole lot more comfortable. I went about 2 inches behind the strap, because you usually end up sitting on the strap, and that seemed to be a good spot. Was stopping right here, cutting the foam down, and then adding the softer foam to it. But I really like it, and it's a whole lot more comfortable now.